All right. Good evening, everyone. It's Coach Tam, 100-pound weight loss success story and transformation coach, checking in from Charlotte, North Carolina. Tonight, I am excited to talk about something that I don't think I've talked about on Facebook Live before, but to me, it's a very, very important topic for a number of reasons. For one, in a Purdue study that was published in 2006, the university found that churchgoers were more likely to be overweight than the general population. And further studies indicated that those of us that believe are more likely to suffer from heart disease. So for me, this is a very, very important topic as a person of faith and as a person who operates a faith-based fitness business and likes to speak whenever I have the chance to a church or an organization that believes. I want to today talk about the faith and fitness connection. In my journey, faith was critically important. And looking back is one of the key elements that's allowed me to be successful. And so tonight I want to talk about praying away the pounds, how faith and fitness intersect. So if you know someone that is a person of faith and has been looking for ways to bring those two things together, I want to encourage you to share tonight's session because I believe that it will bless them. So many of you know my story, but for those that don't, I'll just give a brief recap because it does tie into the story. Now about 10 years ago, I found myself in the doctor's office going for what I thought was a routine physical and hearing the words, you are a disaster waiting to happen. I remember those words distinctly now, 10 years later, because they really shook me to my core. I was fortunate in that my doctor also saw my mom and had a very good picture of our family history. And in that family history was a long string of people with high blood pressure. And my grandfather actually had developed such an advanced state of heart disease that he eventually ended up on a pacemaker. So when he looked at the warning signs, I had 4 out of 8 at a very young age that were putting me on a path towards heart disease. So I am thankful for him because he said the words in such a way that they really struck me and helped me to understand that I really needed to take action. The part that was frustrating, though, is that it wasn't as though I had not taken any action up until that point. For years, I had been looking for solutions, trying things like Slim Fast and Weight Watchers and the Special K diet. I can remember doing that. I don't know if you remember that from back in the day. I may be dating myself. And I can remember signing up for gym memberships on several occasions that I started, but just wasn't consistent with. And then my most successful attempt prior to the most recent success was in 2006 when one of my best friends was getting married. And you know how it is when someone in your crew is getting married, everyone makes the decision that they're going to lose weight. So we all worked in the same office at the time, so it was really easy to set up one of those Biggest Loser type challenges. And because I'm competitive and I hate to lose, that's still true to this day, I made the decision to commit to the challenge and I got great results. You know, in 5 months, I lost 40 pounds and I looked and felt great when my friend's wedding day came. But shortly after the wedding, my motivation got up and left. And so I found myself in a situation where I was literally, after 5 months of being consistent, back at square one. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a very frustrating experience. Above all, I was frustrated with myself. I was frustrated with myself because I couldn't seem to make myself do what I knew I needed to do. And even though the product of watching what I was eating and working out felt good, the end result felt good, I was not in a point where I could make the daily sacrifices that I needed to make in order to maintain those results. Hey there, Cheryl. So I believe as a believer especially, that's a really hard thing to process, because, we believe that God can do anything. And it's tough to be in a situation where it feels as though God can do anything but help us get to where we need to be. But here's one of the things that I've learned. Looking back, I didn't really make it a priority to pray about my weight loss and fitness journey. I would on occasion, but it was not a regular occurrence. And it wasn't until the doctor said those words that shook me to my core and quite honestly struck a chord of fear in me, that my back was against the wall. And sometimes, that's how it is, right? We don't pray until our back is against the wall. So now being in that space, I found myself literally asking God, please help me. Because I knew my track record. I knew that I had started so many things. Yeah, that's right, Cheryl. Wow. I knew that I had started so many things and had not finished them. And I knew that I could not afford to repeat that this time. I had to make some serious, sustainable changes. And for some reason, in that moment, I realized that I cannot do this alone and I'm going to need help. So I prayed and I asked God, please show me what to do, because I wasn't sure where to start. My doctor had given me some advice, the classic advice: you need to eat better and you need to move more, but that wasn't enough to really help me understand what next steps I needed to take. So I prayed and I wanted the answers to come immediately. They didn't. I don't know if you've ever experienced that before, right? Sometimes there's feels like a little bit of a delay, a little bit of pause, but the answer did come in a way that I least expected. It came in the form of a late night infomercial. And that's what began my journey to reaching my 100-pound weight loss goal. So tonight I want to talk about how critical of a role prayer played initially, but then as time went along, and how much of a role it still plays today. So even as of this weekend, as I celebrated my 10-year anniversary of keeping off 100 pounds, this is still a very important item on my prayer list. So I want to talk about four ways that you can use prayer to get on track with your health and fitness goals. Now, the first thing that I want to encourage you to do is literally right now, as you are listening to this video, to pray. I want to encourage you to open your heart up and say, God, you know what? If you haven't been, God, I'm sorry for not including you in this area of my life. I was just finishing up with the consult earlier today, and we talked about how at the end, we can ask God for help with our career and our finances and our relationships. But somehow this area of life, we feel like it's something that we should be able to handle, that we only need to take the big stuff, so to say, to God. So for many of us, myself included, this wasn't something that I prayed regularly about. But here's what I've learned, that God is concerned about everything that concerns us. And that includes our journey to health and wholeness. So I want to encourage you, either right now when you're listening to this video, or if you want to do it privately after you finish watching this video, to take a moment and pray and say, God, I know that I haven't incorporated you and prayer into my journey thus far, but I want to make that decision right now to invite you in this process and ask you to take this journey with me, because I've tried for a long time to do it on my own and it just hasn't come together. So will you please take this journey with me? I encourage you to do that before you go further. The second place that I want to encourage you to incorporate prayer is praying on a daily basis proactively. Now, I'm a football fan. I don't know if you are. Go Cowboys. I know I'm going to hear some hate over that, but that's okay. It's still my team. 20 plus years, we're still holding it down, right? So I'm a football fan. So in football, there is offense and defense. So when I say proactively, I mean that in advance you are praying. Before temptation strikes, before you are in the kitchen and faced with those many choices, before your day even really gets started, or you get to the end of your day and you're so tired that you don't want to head to the gym, pray proactively. Literally incorporate a prayer around your health and wholeness journey into your daily prayer life. So if you pray in the morning before you start your day, as many of us do, then I want you to insert this into your prayer. Lord, help me with my food choices today. Help me to stick to the plan that I have come up with this week for exercise. Literally incorporate this into your prayer life proactively before temptation strikes, okay? But then secondly, there also has to be defense. When the opponent is attacking, you have to defend yourself. So I also want to encourage you to pray daily reactively. You know, scientists estimate that we literally have thousands of thoughts per day, and hundreds of those thoughts are around food. One of the things about weight loss, nutrition, is that you can't get away from it. You know, there are some things that you can just abstain from, but you can't abstain from food because we need food to live. And you're going to be faced with choices on a daily basis. And sometimes, I don't know if it happens to you, but it happens to me, just all of a sudden this thought, well, what if I have this? Or what about that? Or you get a whiff of something. Cinnabon does that for me when I'm in the airport. I get a whiff of a Cinnabon and all of a sudden I just feel like I need a Cinnabon. So we all have our things, and we can be on the right course, and then all of a sudden there will be what we call a trigger in coaching psychology that will start getting us to veer off course. And in those moments, I want to encourage you to pray. Lord, help me. I want to go over to the Cinnabon. Help me to stay on track, because I know if I make that decision, there are going to be consequences down the road that I really don't want, because I really want to get my health under control. All right. So I want you to pray proactively, and I want you to pray reactively. The last thing that I want to share with you is another quick personal story. I was at a point earlier this year in February where I needed to get refocused. And that may surprise you, right? Because, hey, you're a weight loss and a fitness coach. But here's the reality, and I say this all the time. We're all human. We're all human. So I was at a point where I was not as focused as I needed to be. I was doing pretty well with exercise, but my nutrition was off track. And for me, that's a constant battle. It's a constant battle. So I was dealing with so many things personally and professionally. And because I am a stress, emotional eater, I found myself deviating from the boundaries that I had set around food. And knowing what I know, I knew that I needed to take action, and I needed to take action quickly, because if I didn't, I could get myself in a really bad space. And so I prayed about it. And what came to me is, you know what, you need to take a moment to reset. And that's the fourth thing that I want to share with you. Anytime you feel that you need a reset, when you look back and you realize, I have made a string of poor choices in the nutrition department, I have missed workouts for like 2 weeks, that's when you need to go into your prayer closet and go on the defense and really pray for that reset that you're looking for. And so that's what I did. I actually set a course for 15 days that I would be praying on a daily basis, 3 times a day. About this journey. And I put some other things in place. I put some specific boundaries around foods and things that I had gotten away from. Just to give you an example, I decided my kitchen is closed at 9. There's no food after 9 and no food before 5 a.m. And that cut out a lot of things. You know how you just sneak in there, I want to get some popcorn or get a piece of candy or something, just random stuff that adds up. So I decided to make some firm commitments around food to kind of get back to that discipline, Tam, that I had been at one time, but had started to deviate from. And so I called it my 15 days of focus. I was also looking for clarity on some things personally and professionally. And I wanted to take this opportunity to really hear from God as well as get recentered. And so I want to encourage you to take a page from my book. If that's where you are right now, I want to encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity to do your own reset. And if you need help with that, we're actually going to have a challenge. We're going to have a challenge starting on November 5th. I'm calling it Focus 15. We've shortened it a little bit. And it's a faith, food, and fitness challenge. We're going to be going to God in prayer on a daily basis. And I'm going to be giving you a prayer plan to do that. We're going to help you pray proactively and reactively for that focus that you need to get back to your nutrition plan, to be consistent with exercise, and to even get clarity on what 2019 should look like for you. So if you're interested in an opportunity to partner with us and have someone take that journey with you, I'm going to be dropping a link in the comments. I encourage you to follow that to learn more. So let me wrap things up. If you haven't already, I want to encourage you to take this moment, go to God in prayer and say, Lord, I'm sorry, and I need your help. Secondly, I want you to pray proactively every morning before you start your day. I want you to ask God for help with your nutrition and your fitness choices. When your back is against the wall and you're tempted to get cheesecake instead of strawberries or to go home instead of hit the gym, I want to encourage you to pray defensively. And the word tells us that when we pray, we should believe that we should have received it, and then it is ours. And then last but not least, anytime you need a reset, because none of us is perfect, don't be afraid to go to God and say, I need help. Help me to get back on course. If this has been beneficial to you, please do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the like button so that I know that you would like to see more of this type of content. And if you believe that it will be a blessing to someone else, I'm going to ask you to take an additional step and go ahead and share it so that others can benefit too. And as always, feel free to visit our website at www.265point.com. Have a great evening and God bless.